Yo, what up, YouTube? Yeah, I was just sitting on YouTube looking at a lot of old fights. You know, classic boxing matches. And I was just sitting and reviewing what's going on in boxing today. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now what I think is really hurting boxing. What I think is like putting a hat that has a huge anchor on boxing. It's like boxing can't move forward. Is the fact that these alright, the only big guys right now in boxing is Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Those are the only big names that you could go to somebody on the street and they will know who those guys are. I can't really think, with the exception of them, Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins, I don't think people will know any other fighter. I'm talking about a casual fan. But what's killing boxing, in my opinion, is the fact that rankings don't matter anymore. It's like your rank is irrelevant right now. Let's take, for example, Manny Pacquiao has a November 10th date to fight. And opponent hasn't been chosen yet. And I'm going to tell you guys what's killing boxing too. And it's not just Pacquiao, it's everybody who has some sort of status. They're not fighting the guy who is ranked. That's why the rankings are so fucking confused and unorganized. People are just choosing an opponent that's more lucrative to sell. That's all that matters now. It's like it's not both anymore. It's not about selling and rank. It's just purely about selling now. It doesn't matter who's in the ring. A guy could have lost 4 fights straight. If he's a seller, he would probably still be able to get a huge pay-per-view date or some shit. And that shit pisses me off. Like, it's unfair to the guys who put in the work, who's been on a winning streak. Because, let's just be honest, all these boxers do the same fucking thing. They both get punched in the face. They both punch their opponent in the face. They both have to do strenuous workouts to stay in shape and prepare for a fight. They both, all of them have to do that. Whether the fighter's a bum or not, they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. None of these guys deserve anything over the other one. Now, check it out. Pacquiao is fighting November 10th. Opponent has not been decided yet. And they're not looking at the ranks. They're looking at how could they sell and make millions of dollars. But in my opinion, I feel like if they really go by the ranks and put that guy that everybody calls a nobody because he just isn't popular, that makes a star overnight. And it makes more sense. I don't see why these promoters don't do that anymore. I don't see why they don't do that. Like, that will create a star. If the guy was to give Manny Pacquiao a hard fight or even beat Manny Pacquiao, you got a star right there. Now you got more stars to play around with. You don't got just 2 guys that got boxing by a chokehold. I want to see boxing go back to that. You know? That's what I want to see. And they do it. It still does happen. But it doesn't happen with the big guys. Like, you will see Sergio Martinez. Like, basically everybody Sergio Martinez fight is a nobody. Because we don't know these guys. A lot of times they was blossoming in Europe. Or they just don't really fight on HBO or Showtime much. But when you look at their record and their ranking, that's how they got the fight. And now, you could say the name, what's the guy? I just forgot. But if you say his name, I would know him now. The guy that Martinez fought just the other day in Madison Square Garden. The Irish guy. If you say his name, I would know him now. Now he's a notable guy. You get what I'm saying? It's a pattern. Put the guy with the ranking in with the star and see if you could create another star. Don't just look for a star. Don't just try to put these pay-per-view cards together with these stars that don't deserve the fight. Like, when they literally don't deserve the shit. It makes no fucking sense. Like, Boxing Socialist put up a video saying that Ricky Hatton is coming back to fight in November or something like that. He's gonna fight Paulie Malignaggi. Then after that, he's gonna be gearing up to see for a rematch with Pacquiao. Like, how does that happen? This dude was given no dedication to the sport. He got fat and sloppy. He got knocked the fuck out cold twice. He got knocked out twice in his last 3 fights as a professional. He's been retired for 3 years. He's gonna come back. He's gonna get a fight with Paulie Malignaggi, and then he's just gonna get a fight with Pacquiao. We all know that shit is gonna happen. We all know Pacquiao's handlers loves to put him in fights with guys that he already clearly beaten. He fought so many rematches, it's not funny. You know? And we all know it's gonna happen. If Ricky Hatton really does come back and he beats Paulie Malignaggi, and his body looks to be in shape, I really see them pairing Ricky Hatton with Pacquiao. That's just the shit that I hate about boxing right now. That shit is corny, man. And that shit gotta stop. For real, that shit gotta stop. This motherfucker was a nobody. He deserves to fight on ESPN. That's what he deserves. He got knocked the fuck out. Been retired for 3 years. Every time you see him, he's getting fatter and fatter. How the fuck do you just come back in the mix and you just skip everybody who's been in line? He skips the guys that has a name, and he definitely skipped the guy that has no name, but you know, he's probably undefeated and he's probably on the rankings. But people don't pay attention to that, and those stuff are irrelevant. That's what I hate about boxing. It's like those stuff are irrelevant where they should be relevant. These guys that staying undefeated, that's beating everybody in their path, these guys should get shots at the superstars. That's how boxing, that's how when you talk about boxing in the 70s and the 80s, there was so much names to throw out there. Because everybody was a nobody at one point. Trust me. All these motherfuckers was nobodies, but they really used to go off the ranking system, and that's what created stars. That's what created stars. Look at Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran was fucking everybody up at lightweight. Roberto Duran became a superstar at lightweight. And he made the bold challenge to come up a couple weight divisions to fight Ray Leonard and give Ray Leonard his first defeat. Right now, Roberto Duran is a fucking legend. Not to say that's all he done. I'm just saying that just goes to show how boxing used to create stars back then. It's like it doesn't want to create stars anymore. It just want to feed the few stars that it has. That's all it does. Like, that's crazy that Pacquiao is having trouble finding an opponent, and all the guys that they're even thinking about placing him in the ring with, he already fought. That's the shit that really annoys me. It's either Marcus, Cotto, or Bradley. I can understand the Bradley. I can understand that one, because he just fought him, and that fight is very, very controversial. A lot of people feel this guy won, a lot of people feel that guy won. I can understand that rematch if it happens. I hope it does happen. But it shouldn't be a problem that Manny Pacquiao in fucking late August, we in late August now, doesn't have an opponent on paper. Look at Mayweather. Mayweather doesn't even have a fucking opponent yet. There's no talks of an opponent. You know why? Because they're not looking at the rankings. If the rankings was in effect, we would have known who's Mayweather was going to fight already. We would have been knew. But that's not how it works now. It's about finding these. His handlers are looking for the opponent to make the most money. You know, and that shit is just killing boxing. They need anybody who fights Mayweather. Like, you don't even have to be the smartest businessman to see this. Anybody who fights Floyd Mayweather right now, anybody is going to become a household name. Anybody. If you fight Floyd Mayweather right now, people will know your name next month. You know? I know a couple, and I like to use this example. Women, you know? Women don't fuck with boxing like that. Ask any girl that you dudes mess with. I don't care what she is to your sister, your wife, your hoe. I don't care what she is. Ask her about Victor Ortiz. And if she don't, but say the word boxer first. Don't just say Victor Ortiz. And she might remember the guy that headbutted Mayweather when y'all was at that fight party watching that fight, and Mayweather knocked him out after they hugged each other. She might just remember that shit. She might just know who Victor Ortiz is. That's the shit I'm talking about, you know? It creates more stars. Like, you can leech off the stardom of another fighter if you just place him in the ring with the guy that deserves the fight. Stop like, this shit is serious, blatant cherry picking. But it's not cherry picking. Usually when we hear the term cherry picking is about a guy ducking a fighter because he feel he could beat him. He feel he might lose. It's not that type of cherry picking. It's the type of cherry picking in which you're not giving the guy who deserves the fight. You're just ignoring him, and you're picking your fighter based off his stardom and his popularity. And that shit is just killing boxing because it's keeping boxing small. Boxing is so small right now. If we talk about Mexico, who we thinking about? Marquez. Marquez is fucking damn near 40. Marquez doesn't even knock people out. Like, Marquez is a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer, definitely. But the thing I'm trying to say is why we so hell bent on Marquez? Why can't we get a Mexican fighter that's up there in the rankings and make him a star? All he needs is that one fight. That's all he needs. That one damn fight. And he becomes somebody overnight. Now we got more people. We got more stars that we can set up better matches that will sell. You know, this promoting thing is very easy, man. It's very fucking easy. Look at Jose Zito Lopez. A lot of people don't even notice that Lopez lost to what's that kid's name? Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas beat Lopez in a tough fight. But you will swear up and down that Lopez is better than Vargas. But Vargas already beat him. Why? Because Lopez fought Ortiz, and he's connected to Ortiz. He's connected to Ortiz's stardom because he broke Ortiz's jaw and stopped him. Now Lopez is fighting Canelo. You understand? Like, Lopez is added to the list of names now. We could add so many more names if we just continue to pull guys from the rankings. Lopez was pulled from the rankings to get that fight with Ortiz, because he was a replacement. You gotta remember that. He was a replacement for Berto. He wasn't even supposed to be in that fucking fight. That fight was never supposed to happen. He was pulled from the ranking system because that's where he belonged. He belonged to get those type of fights. That's what they do when the star gets injured or some shit. And you see what happened? Lopez made himself overnight. Broke Victor Ortiz's fucking jaw. You understand? Look at Danny Garcia. Look at Danny Swift Garcia. Knock Amir Khan the fuck out. He wasn't even supposed to be in the ring with Amir Khan. Lamont Peterson pulled out. Danny Garcia got the fight and knocked Amir Khan the fuck out. Now we got another name to look after. Danny Garcia. What's next with Danny Garcia? Anybody with Danny Garcia fights now, we want to see it. That's what makes the boxing. That's what makes the it's like a net, and that's what makes it grow. You want to expand the chain. Like this shit is too small right now. If Mayweather not fighting, is like boxing is just frozen. If Pacquiao not fighting, it's like it's frozen. It could be so many more pay-per-view cards put together that don't have to necessarily have Mayweather or Pacquiao. If these guys just allow guys from the rankings to get fights with notable fighters. Because regardless, you're on the rankings for a reason. You're obviously not a bum. If your ass is on the rankings, you're not a bum. You beat people and your name went up in the ranking system. Whichever sanction body, WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, all of them. If you up there on the rankings, you deserve the fight. And that's how it should be from now on. If boxing is like that, trust me, we wouldn't have no month of August when there was no fights on either HBO or Showtime. I don't know if a lot of you guys realize that we didn't have not one fucking major boxing broadcast for this entire month. Not one in any weight division. Not one on HBO or Showtime. Due to the bullshit that these promoters is doing. Due to that same shit. It's so few names that matter in boxing right now when they can make it so much more names that matter. Like, and boxing would just be a bigger sport again. It would get more coverage. It wouldn't get a 5-minute segment with dickheads like Skip Bayless on ESPN talking about boxing. It would get its his entire segment alone. It wouldn't just get 5 minutes of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless talking about Mayweather and Pacquiao. That's all ESPN does when it comes to boxing. Other than showing Friday night fights, that's all they do. That's all they do. It's like boxing isn't even a major sport anymore. It's crazy. That's what's killing boxing. If y'all wanted to know, that's what's killing this shit. They're just these promoters, if you want to call it promoter cherry picking, I guess that's a better way of putting it. They're promoter cherry picking. They're just picking guys that's more lucrative. And keeping the stars, the amount of stars very, very small. That's why boxing is so small. You know? The Klitschko's are doing it too. Those guys that the Klitschko's fights, those nobodies that we criticize them after they jab their heads off, those guys are in the fucking rankings. It's just that the heavyweight boxing is real dead right now. But if that was what was going on in the heavyweight division was going on in the lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, if it was going on in those divisions, boxing would be at a way better position right now. Way better. That's what they need to revert back to. And I guarantee you'll start seeing boxing on network television, and it will get you'll see a lot of top fighters endorsed by huge companies like Nike. Boxing will be a big face again. Boxing ain't shit right now. Boxing is damn near dead. How the fuck we go an entire month without one fight? Without one fight. If you can just tell ain't shit going on in boxing. Go on YouTube. You don't really see much videos up because there's nothing to talk about. The only videos that's up That's people that's doing fantasy videos like a Mayweather Pacquiao matchup. You know, that shit is like old and dead now. And if it's not that, then they're talking about the politics of boxing, like top rank this or golden boy that. There ain't no fights to talk about. There's literally ain't shit to talk about right now for the entire month of August. The entire fucking month. If I want a good fight, I gotta wait till next month. I don't even know if I'm gonna live to see next month. I mean, give me a minute. Nah. Yeah. I mean, that's just sad, man. I mean, that's just fucking sad. You know? Word, like, I want y'all all to think about that. You know, whether you're a Pac-Tord or what. Whatever you are. Think about the concept I just said. If they used to go back to that system of pulling guys from the rankings to get shots at titles and big mega fights, boxing will be in a way better position right now. Alright? I'm gonna wrap it up right here. Y'all holler at me, man.